in the middle of taking on one of the biggest powder plants in the United States. There was 5 of them built by DuPont. And they took 2,000 acres of the best farmland close to St. Paul, Minnesota. And our company was selected to do it on a time and material basis. And we did 46 miles of large diameter steel pipe for steam, high pressure steam. And because they make gunpowder from sulfuric acid. And they built over 150 small buildings 300 to 600 feet apart, because, you know, if one blew, it wouldn't blow up the whole 2,000 acres. 2,000 acres is a lot of land. And I am extremely proud to tell you that we took the job and paid 94%. That was war tax. So we made a lot of money, but we gave 94% back.
Wow. How'd you feel about that?
Huh?
How'd you feel about that?
I felt good, because I wish it had been a... Well, I got to add that DuPont, for each one of these 5 plants in the United States that they had already built, took $1. All I wanted to do, all DuPont wanted to do is hold all their engineers and keep them busy. And I got a real cute story to tell you. The war was won in May 19, or nearly won. We had beat Europe. They had just signed a peace treaty. And President Roosevelt died on April 14th, 1945, in his 3rd term. He had outlawed that, you know that, in the Supreme Court, in our Constitution. So when he died, he had not told Harry Truman that we had an atomic bomb. And my boss, Major General Groves, was the head of the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was the atomic bomb. So on May 1st, Truman said all the plants, millions and millions, were all the plants that we were all dedicated to the war, to go home, because he knew what was happening. He just let them, nobody knew why.
What was your reaction to Truman's decision to drop the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Well, that's what I'm getting to. These men, on May 1st, they sent 2 top engineers, just a little older than my brother and I, in their 50s, and they came from Hanford, Washington. That's right on the Columbia River, right on the border to a state of Washington. This is state of Washington. And we asked them every day, what in the world did you do there? What happened there? And all they could say, they poured concrete night and day, and they used a hell of a lot of water. That's their words. Used a hell of a lot of water. And we dined with them every day, all of June, or all of May and June and July. 3 months to measure this big 46 miles that we had already done. You have to be paid for it. And they had to measure it to the inch. It was 12-inch, 14, 16, and 18-inch steel above ground. They kept to their word. And everybody knew on August 6th, 1945, that's when the bomb was dropped, nobody in the country, nobody was able to know what happened, because it was kept a wonderful, wonderful secret. So everybody, we knew what happened, because Hanford built them, and they used all this concrete and all this water, and now they're still cleaning it up. They're spending billions and billions every year on it, still cleaning up the mess. So that's the atomic bomb. But let me tell you the sequel to this thing. I had done several atomic plants in 60s and 70s in Minnesota and Wisconsin and the Dakotas. I had built all of them that were there. And I even saw the demise of several. When we did the demise, you know, cut them up in pieces. It's 3 foot. They surrounded an atomic plant with 3 foot of solid concrete. Well, they decided in we were moved to, I was made president of Western MacArthur, a wholly owned subsidiary of MacArthur Company that I owned a lot of in our family. They made me president, and I was president until I was 62, which was 1978. In 1978, on the day of my retirement, I signed a time and material contract for all the installation on the world's largest atomic plant at San Luis Obispo in Northern California, right by Oakland. So we completed that, and the real good news is it was online in the 90s, and Enron came in and wrecked all the power plants in this country. You know, the Enron thing was the biggest thing that ever happened to a business in power plants. They owed $28 billion to Enron, PG&E. PG&E, who we did all their turbines, they had 49 turbines. We did their turnarounds on those every year because, well, that's what we did. So we built that, and it cut this $28 billion in half to $14 billion. We are paying $1 million a day just for interest. But it wasn't $28 billion, it was $14 billion, and we're still paying on it.
Wow.
And that is, I wish I could have a better way of presenting it, but that's the story.